that really flows into the Third Amendment, this quartering of soldiers, which Kyle and I in the pre-show, as we were ranting, I said to Kyle, I go, the most successful amendment of all time? Third Amendment.
Number 3. That's crazy. And I was thinking about this. I mean, like, let's put yourself in the mind of somebody who just got done living through the Revolutionary War. You probably had to quarter some soldiers, and probably from both sides. Like, man, just the things that these people probably went through. And this is just the common soldiers, let alone if you had an officer in there. And you know the way that the officers were treated compared to common citizenry, at least on the English side. You had an officer taking over your house. Like, it was their house now. You're done, right?
So all the amendments have been heavily adjudicated at the Supreme Court, except this one. There is no line of Supreme Court cases on the Third Amendment. Occasionally, lower courts would they would try and use the Third Amendment to discuss stuff. Like, just for an example, there was Ingblom versus Kerry in 1982. And it was because National Guard troops were temporarily housed in a correctional officer's residence. Like, from what I understand, and if there's an attorney listening to me, like, totally comment on it, like,
right,
like talk crap to me. Kyle will read it off to me later, and I'll be like, "Yeah, you're right, you're an attorney." But what I understood is that they were basically saying, like, because the National Guard were soldiers and they were staying on a residency, that violated the Third Amendment, and the Supreme Court was like, no. It's just like they're just like, but there's one really cool one. Sorry, Kyle, go. I have a cool one on this.
Has it ever come up? I mean, you brought up this one case, but I mean, does it never come up because the U.S. has never been in the habit of trying to quarter troops in civilians' homes because of our history with it, or?
The only time we've had war, right? 1812, right?
And what was the one with Spanish American? Yeah.
Spanish American. Largely, you could argue that the War of 1812, that could have been population centers, but the Mexican American War and the Spanish American War is later, but you could argue the Mexican American War was fought on a pretty, open.
See, I would think that would be where it'd be more likely to happen, because then you're talking about very few places where you can quarter somebody, right. So you're going to go grab a ranch or a barn or something and.
Yeah, I think they would just camp out in the fields, as opposed to during the American Revolution, they were literally putting soldiers inside people's homes and being told you have to feed them. Yeah.
Was that on our side or just the British side?
No, that was on the British side. They were putting British soldiers in homes, which is wild. But this is why the Constitution is so interesting. Mm-hmm. The Third Amendment has been brought up on one of the most interesting examples. There's a 1965 Supreme Court case. Now, the Supreme Court will often reference amendments, the Bill of Rights specifically, and they won't necessarily use them as a basis of ruling, but reference assumptions made within those amendments, or basically saying, if amendment means X, there is Y logical assumption. So in 1965, there was a Supreme Court case, Connecticut versus Griswold, which recognized a constitutional right to privacy in marital relations, because the court cited the Third Amendment as one of the evidences that there exists a zone of privacy, since forcibly quartering soldiers would violate the sanctity of a home. Which really meant
there's an expectation of privacy in the home because of that?
Yes! And the Third Amendment guarantees that.
Fascinating. Really?
Isn't that awesome? Yeah. So the Third Amendment is one of those that maybe, you forget on trivia night what it is. It's a very important amendment that everybody agrees on. Literally the least controversial thing in the Constitution.